Hi everyone, just checking in, checking the sound, saying good evening. Oh, well, that wasn't good, was it? Oh, hi Rhonda, hi Lynn. Are you guys sewing along, cutting and sewing along? Hi Christine, how you feeling? Everybody lay out their blocks to see how pretty they are? You're chugging along, Christine? Yeah, we're all chugging along, I think. We just have one camera tonight. I have a big embroidery what do you call it? Zoom machine embroidery class tomorrow. So I took the embroidery arm off. Excuse me. I got to put it back on so it takes up this whole area. That's my story for the day. But I did set my box up here. Got the picture up there. We're working on the basket tonight. Let's see, what we got, about a couple minutes? Oh, Lynn, yes, you're sewing along good. Oh, Christine, you're sewing too? Rhonda, is your friend with you tonight? Nancy. It took me a minute to remember that. Yeah, I know. Did you hear me yawn, Christine? I was trying not to. Well, I guess my sound's working all right. I was thinking about that today. Or was it yesterday? Well, yesterday I taught a class in person, and I was thinking it was a good thing I had my mask on because I can't hear me yawning. Well, I know I just did it again. I'm sorry. It was such a nice day out today. Almost like summer. Let's see, what time? Oh, we got another minute or so to go. So I have my machine already set up to sew. So if you want to get your machine set to sew. I need to get a chair that goes up and down. Oh, Rhonda, your friend just visited with you on Saturday? I have a new, so this Saturday we're supposed to be doing more with the zipper bag. Showing you how to do the tabs on the side so you can actually use a metal zipper. I don't want you to use a metal zipper. I'm going to show you how to. I got to scrounge around my inventory and see if I got a metal zipper. What is that in back of your book? This? This book? Give me something more, Christine. What is that in back of your book? Oh, do you mean this thing that holds everything up? You mean this thing? This is like a stand and it's got a bar in the back. This thing? Oh no, the other way. I've moved both ways now. This is my little hints book. And that's my, it kind of reminds me of a music stand. And it's metal, so I got a little magnet, my little motor magnet. Oh, it's upside down. Oh, now I pushed it over out of the way. Here we go. Besides, you don't want to see what's behind there. It's actually here. The back. Okay, she's got to give me something more guessing here. Okay, behind the builder block. So here's the builder block. You mean this thing here? Yes, I do. Okay. Christine, we got to keep up with the same conversation here. You mean the bag? The bag that's in the back? We can do that sometime. That's a bag that's I keep my camera in it. So it zips up this way. And I made this is a class I must have done, oh, I don't know, 10 years ago. But check this out. You see this? See the shiny? That's the iron-on vinyl waterproofing iron-on stuff. So the inside of this is actually, you can wipe it out. You know, like if you had makeup or, I don't know, toiletries, that kind of thing. So we can put that on the list of our, well, I don't know if we can do a Saturday so long if we can get it done in time or not, but you'll have to remind me about it later. Good eye there though, Christine, good eye. Okay, so it's time to begin. So let me move all my blocks out of the way. I had them out because I like to look at them. But everybody did their last week's block. Mine kind of looks like it's oriental colors. Okay. So we're doing the basket block. Now see, I put that away. Now I need it back again. Oh, shh. Okay. We're doing the basket block, and I've decided, just so you can see, so we're doing the basket block. I'm going to do I'm going to call these red parts the flowers of my basket. I'm going to do them with my scraps of what we've had left over for the last few weeks. So I pulled out some of my fabrics. Guess I got to get way up there, don't I? To make each one of the little flowers different. So I had to start. So I thought I'd just show you my process of thinking, I guess. So this is going to be my basket part here. So that's my basket part. I've got my background already done. So I'm going to take, what do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I need 6 colors. So 1, let's see. And when you're doing this, you only want to show a little bit of each color because that's all it's going to show. So 2, sorry. Oh, let me do it this way. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, I think that I froze there for a minute, so let me do that again. So color 1, 2, 3. Let's see, what else have I got? A green one, 4. Another red one. Okay, I can't tell. I'm going to wait a couple minutes because it looks like everything's running on my end, but it looks like there we go. Okay, I think we're back now. Let's double check. Let's see if it's back. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes for everyone to catch up, or everybody. You may have. I can't. How do I tell you to refresh? You may have to refresh. Okay, I think we're good to go again. So I don't know where I left off. So at this lighter color, a green, another red. I think I need a brighter red. Let's see what else I've got in my. I think I'll take that green out and put this red in. And see how that looks. And you may be doing yours all with one color, and that's okay. I just thought you might like to see. Let me experiment on how it looks with different colors. So that's what I'm going to use. And I may take one or two of them. I may take three and just do, let me move some of this out of the way. You know, two of each one. So we're going to be on page, yeah, I didn't clip it this time. I used the clip for something else, and I didn't put it back. So, oh, so we're on, oh, wrong language, sorry. I thought it was on this left side. So we're on page 10, and we're doing this one, and I'm doing the 6-inch. I don't know, I know some of you are doing different sizes, so I'm doing the 6-inch. So I need the 2-inch square, the 2-inch half square, and the 3.5 half square. So let me get, so I don't need no squares, huh? Let me see. Yes, 2-inch square. So 2-inch square is the second one from the inside. 2-inch, 2-inch. I know you have to watch me putz around with this. Usually it's on the floor, you can't see me. Oh, for Pete's sake, here we go. All right, so 2-inch square. So I got my 2-inch square, I'm just gonna set it to the side. And then I need the 2-inch half square. So the 2-inch half square is on this side. And that's the furthest one in. And then I need the 3.5 half square. And I want to make sure I'm not on the quarter square, so I always double check that half square. So the 3.5 is the next one up. Okay, so I can push that back out of the way. And I'll use this because it's easier to tell the colors. So the bigger half square is the basket. And then the basket has 2 small half squares. So I'm going to cut those out first. So if I look at the, oh, that's not good. I dropped one on the floor. Oh, here we go. Had my head. So if we look at the book, we have, if you have one half square, you gotta have another half square. So I need some background. And I'm trying to use up my little odds and ends of my background. So for this half inch, the 3.5 inch square, I need my background and I need my I moved my fabric, couldn't find my fabric. So I need my background fabric. Oh, let me get way up higher here. I need my background fabric and I need my gold fabric. And I got to find out, okay, so my straight of grain is on this side as usual, my right side. And I'm going to lay them down right sides together. Because if I cut them right sides together, then I can just pick them up and sew them. And I'm just, remember, when you're doing this by yourself, you can always go to the front of your book and you've got your square and how it lines up, your half square and how it lines up, and your quarter square all line up in with the straight grain. So always check back there. Don't try to sit there and guess. So we know that our, I got to get way up there. There we go. I'll switch over here. We know that our half square, the short side needs to be with the straighter grain. Let me go that way. Okay, so I'm just going to set that there for the moment. I haven't got my plates out yet. And for our squares, we need 4 2-inch squares. And the squares are all, if we look at our picture, or you can look at the picture in the book, the squares are all the background. Now, at some point, if you have the Build the Block Plus, which we'll get into in the next series, you might have a rectangle in there that you don't have to put the 2 squares together. But for right now, we're going to do the 2 squares. And I know I've got 1 square here. Trying to find some little pieces. And another square. I need more. I need 4, don't I? So, and remember the square, because it's straight on every side, I don't have to concern myself so much with where the straight of grain is, because it just has to be on the, it's on the straight side. Okay, so I can get 4 out of that piece. So I just wanted to see how that was going to work out before I got my plates out. Yes, I'm looking for my plates. I know they're behind me. Okay, so here we go. I guess I'll put the top up. So I've got mine marked, the tops up there. And then my metal doesn't have any mark on it. So I'm going to go that way. So I'm going to go ahead. I have to stand up for this. Oh. You move my chair. Can't stand up and move. My chair's in the way. Okay, so I've got fabric hanging over here. I'm just going to fold it over. And tape down. And then I've got my little squares. Tape down. Now this is going to be noisy because my machine is right here, and the computer's right next to it. So if you want to just turn your volume down so I don't screech you out. Okay, plastic shim, and then our other clear plate. Okay, and I'm going to put my plates down right up here. So I'm going to flip that over, flip that over. Oh, am I up high enough there you can see? Okay, so there's my 2 half squares. Oh, and I'm all ready to stitch those. So I'm just going to put them right there. And I'm done with that die because we only had to use it with the big die. We only had to use it for those 2 pieces. I'm just going to set that right there. And then my 4 squares, I'll just set them up here for now. And so I used up that scrap from last time. I didn't really use that much of that, but I know I need to use more of it because I need more for the quarter squares. And my half square's done. So now we're just using the, I'm not quarter square, I'm sorry, the smaller half square. So if we look at our picture, I know I need to have 2 of the gold. And I'll do the white by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I do some of the others, I'll do some white at the same time. I'm not fond of running 8 through at once. You can, but I'm not gonna. So I know I need, and I'm gonna have to pay attention again to the straight of grain. And I'm gonna go ahead and fold this over. And I might as well do 2 of these. Oh, let's see if I can get 4. Well, we'll do 2. And then I think I'll do 2 each of the other colors. So I think I will take, so I got 2, 4, I'm going to go 6. And see how this piece is bigger? I'm going to lay it down so the bigger part, the fold, is down towards me. Now before I do anything, remember I've got to turn this one over, turn this one over, pick a new spot, and again, I'm just going to cut that off. My straight of grain is still over on this side. So I'm putting my short straight side. A little piece of tape. Plastic shim. Clear plate. Metal plate is kind of crackly tonight. I'm going to move the Gemini a little closer. It's a little hard to reach. Okay, so this time I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to start to lay these out. Not leaving you much room to see, am I? So I got 2 and 2. And my 2 little gold ones I'm just going to put up here with my other gold. Everybody doing okay? Anybody have any questions? So I can still use this background piece. I don't need the gold anymore. So let me bring in green. And this holly one. And again, I'm going to take this white one, I'm going to put it on top because it's the smallest so that I can keep an eye on that fabric. And I'm going to turn it this way so my straight is still on grain, but I'm going on the opposite side of where I already cut. Oh, now did I turn everybody over? Shoot, I wasn't paying attention. Yes, I did. I think I did. And I'm going to turn this because I was way too long hanging off the side. You guys are probably way ahead of me. But that's okay. If you get ahead of me, just go ahead and start sewing. If you want to, or at least laying out your block. Okay, flip it over, flip it over. Flip it over, flip it over. How's that? Okay, so I have 2 more white. Oh, how did I end up with just one of those? Oh, it's stuck on it. Here it is over here. There we go. So I needed 6. I got 2, 4, 6. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see how many of these I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. I may only end up with 4. Well, I guess I got to get some more, don't I? All right, this isn't the best thing. Look what I did way over in the middle. That's okay. Okay. So that piece is done. Okay, so I need 4 more. 8. I need 4 more half square triangles. So I know my straighter grain is here. I kept an eye on it. I was a little crooked. Okay, I think we're done that noise for the day. Okay, I got all my dies over where they belong. Normally, if I was by myself, I would put them away. Okay, everybody good on their cutting? So let's lay this out. So I know this, the two big pieces are going to go in the right corner. Did I do that right? No, I didn't do that right. That goes this way. Oh, it's going to take me a minute now. So let's look at our book because we have to look at how this is going to go together. So let me see if I can get up closer here. Oh, wrong way, sorry. All right, which page is it? Oh, this, oh, well, that's not good. Here we go. So if we look at our book, pardon me, if we look at our book, here we go. We have to look at the rows, how we're doing the rows. So if we look at the corner, okay, the corner is these two, okay? Then we're going to put in the 4 squares. So do you see how there's 2 squares there and then 2 squares there? I'm trying to do this upside down. So let's put our squares down. Okay, so we got 1, 2 squares, and then 2 squares. I don't mind. I forgot to put my cutting mat down because I just took off my, hold on. Okay, let's see if this helps you see there we go. Does that help you see the color a little better? The white, I should say. Okay, so I have my square. And I'm putting 2 squares beside each other right here. And then I know I have 2 squares going up this way. Okay, you got that? You got that okay? Oh, let me bring all my pieces up. I can reach them and then I can push this up further. Get off. Okay, so we were frozen again. We're doing okay now. Okay, so I've got my 2 big half square triangles, my 2 squares here, 2 squares there, because we're looking at this part right here. So now right above this, we need, I'm going to spread them out a little more, and I know you can't see, but wait a minute. I'm just putting a little more space in between them. Okay, so we've done this part. Now we need a row across. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to push those up a little higher. Are you following along okay? And I'm just trying to give a little room to everybody. Oh, I forgot. Right here goes the. You must be yelling at me. Right here goes the rest of the basket. So see how these pieces and this one become the basket. Okay, so we just finished the next row, and you can see how they did this pink or purple, and the three of those match. And then our last row, so I think we got it. Let me see if I can hold this up a little bit for you. There we go. I just spaced it out a little. So when we sew this, so for those of you that want to, I'm afraid if I tip it a little more, it'll start to fall. So for those of you that want to get sewn ahead, I would sew these two, these together, these together, and then this will become one row, and then the rest will be normal. Now, remember, these are half square triangles, so we can go ahead and stitch all of those at one time, one right after the other. So let's do that today. I'm going to leave the big one here just for our little anchor point. Now, if you want to go ahead and pick up like these two together and then put them back, we can do that. Just so that you keep your eye that the two basket ones stay with the big basket one. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you're all set up for your 1/4 inch seam. Just a reminder, I'm using my J foot, Baby Lock J foot, Brother J foot, Janome A foot, and on my machine I've gone into the quilting tab, the Q tab, and I've picked number Q-02. It is the one with a little P at the bottom, P for piecing, and the center, the stitch line is right of center, okay? Just a little reminder there. So I don't have to really pin this because it doesn't matter, excuse me, which way I know I'm sewing on this long end. So I'll just pick up one at a time. I have to make sure that my white on white is, where it's hard to tell sometimes, is going the right side up. If you should sew them and they're upside down, it's okay. Just do a few of them upside down. Nobody will ever know the difference. Remember, we're starting on fabric. Gotta have a pedal. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up the next one. I'm gonna hope for the best because I can't really tell. The light, it probably doesn't look it, but the light is so bright that it's hard to tell. That was a little crooked. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to pick up one at a time. And so, see, I've started another one, but if I want to, if I'm getting concerned about getting my basket sections back together, I'm going to press everybody to the dark side. And remember this one. So see that you can see how that's going to be your basket. Does anybody have any questions? Everybody's just stitching along. And so see, I got those back where they belong, so that makes me feel better. And I'm off kilter tonight. Oh, I almost forgot to check my right sides together. And I can start the last row. I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions or comments. So if I want to cut, so I know this one here is my last row. And I'm just going to press these all to the dark side. I don't remember what order I had them in, but I can fix that again after I lay them all back down. We got a lot of seams tonight, don't we? And if you want to sneak over to your iron, you can. Just remember, straight up and down press. I can't see you, so it's okay. But I know sometimes we feel better if we get everybody like nice and flat. Everybody got their half square sewn together? I haven't seen any questions. I hope you're all still there. I could be sewing alone. Okay. So does that still look like my basket? Geez, you don't see much red there, do you? That might have been a bad choice. That's okay. It's Holly. Oh, Rhonda, you're here following along? Christine, okay. Christine, are you telling me to get sewing? Is that what you're saying? Cracking the whip on me? Okay, so now let's address the bottom first. So because of this big one, we got to sew this together, and then we're gonna just sew. Let's see. Let's sew these two together, and then these two together, because we're gonna make. So this will be one block, and then this is gonna be another block. So let's take care of the easy one first, which I generally, when I'm sewing, I always save the easy one for last, because by the time I get to the end, I need something easy to do. You know what I'm saying? Now with this bigger one, be careful when you run your finger along here, because you can see how you can stretch that. So just be careful. My nose is itchy tonight. Okay, so see how we made that one block? All right, so now I'm going to put these two together. And the seams are opposite each other. So this seam is going here, and the back one is going this way. Just now that I flip those around, I want to make sure I have the dark color on both of them should be the bottom right. And I'm going to stop, and I'm going to go ahead and take my two squares and put those right sides together. Because we're going to web them together, keep them together, because they are going to be one block. Oh, and see, I cut them apart, and I shouldn't have. I should have left them together because they belong together. Okay, so when I did my seam for these two is to the right, so my seam on the plain ones is to the left. And I shouldn't have unclipped them. I was looking at my screen to make sure it wasn't frozen, and I just did it without even thinking. Remember, we're going to press those seams so they're snugged up together. We have no seams on the bottom, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Okay, make sure you're lined up this way, and this way. And once I get going, I want to make sure that this end is also lined up on this side and this side here. And I'm just going to stitch up near that pin. And we're going to press the seam down because there's no seams to interfere here. So it just should go down nice and easy. And so see, we're ready to, we can put this row together. So I'm just going to flip this like we're doing the book. Flip this over. And if you want, you can stick a pin near the beginning, about an inch or so in, and make sure the end is lined up. So we're together this way, this way. So we should really be lined up the whole way around. And the seam on the back, they're both facing towards me. So that means I won't have any issue with the feed dogs turning it the wrong way. And I'm just going to be careful because that seam that's going on the diagonal facing back can get flipped back towards me by the presser foot. So I just want to make sure I lift my presser foot up and get that under there nice and neatly. How are we looking so far? Looking good? Now, you see how this is spaced down here? So don't think you did something wrong. Or here, you see how that is? Right here? Okay, that's your 1/4 inch seam allowance coming by. So don't think you did anything wrong. And also down here. So you really don't have that space. That's going to be your seam allowance. And the same as up here. So it looks like, see how it looks like you ended way down here and you should have ended up here? Well, it's correct this way because that's the 1/4 inch seam allowance. When it comes across, it'll take care of that. So don't be undoing it. And I'm going to press the seam towards the right. And yes, you can sneak over to your iron. Okay? So can you see that okay? So we got it half done. So normally I would have done this last because it was the easiest part. But I wanted you to see how that all goes together in case you got ahead of me. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Well, so we're just going to pretend this is somebody all by himself. And now we're going to go back to how we do our columns. So we only have 2 rows. So we're going to turn our page, put the pin in so we know which side we're sewing on. Okay, so we got to see the 2 pins are there. So I'm leaving this one here for now. I'm just going to pick up one, bring it over. My pin is on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to even this up. Stop, come get row 2. Pins on the right. Straighten it out. Now, don't clip the threads. So I'm going to come back to this one because remember we've got the seam going to the right. So the one above it needs to go to the left. And so the top one will go to the right. Okay? Right, left, right, left. Okay? So now we're going to put on column 3. Flip. Pin. Flip. Or turn the page, whichever way you want to say it. Okay, so now when we pick this up, we're all attached. So pins on the right. You know which side to stitch on this time because you've got extra blocks out here, extra pieces out here, squares. So don't go all the way to the end because then you'll be too close to fiddle around with this next one and get it all straightened out. So I still need to hang on to the first one because I'm not done sewing it yet. Okay, so we're going to open that up. Now we're going to check down here, and this seam is going to the right, so this one needs to go to the left, and the top one is going to the right. So how's your basket looking? Looking like a basket? Should be looking like a basket now. That went pretty fast. We're getting pretty good at this. Right, Lynn? Okay, so now we just got our little plain ones, little plain squares left. So column A, B, C, D, flip it over. Oh, I gotta check my which way my fabric is. I love sewing with white on white, but boy, it doesn't always like me. Okay, and again, pins are on the right. Just gotta pick the whole thing up. You can't get it wrong now. Look, we're on the home stretch. Now this time we don't have any seam here. So I'm gonna, let me see, what did we do before? Right? Did we go all right? Oh, we did. So might as well just go all right on the top. Left. That one's gonna be a little harder because it really wants to go in this direction. Oh, Cindy, you got your blocks done too? Did you do it in the, mine's awfully green. As much as I got red in there, I'm looking kind of green. I may have to do one with all red, then one with all green. Okay, so now, this is really 2 rows here because we got 1 row, 2 rows. So now we're just gonna flip this And our rows should be, hopefully our seams should all be going the way they need to. Just hope they are. My guy's a little crooked. So I think it was last time I was showing you how when your fabric isn't straight, how to keep going, how to make it do your seam allowance. So I think I've done that again, so I'll show you. And again, I'm feeling the whole way down, not just up here in this little section. And now I'm at the edge, I got to make sure that edge is straight as well. And because I know you guys like pins so much, I'm going to pin the edge so that these, everything's even. Now, I'm going to come over here, and I think I remember, so this is the left edge. I'm going to make sure that this is lined up on this left edge. And I also want to make sure it's lined up on the bottom, along the bottom. I know it's a pain in the neck. But once I lined it all up, oh, hold on. Okay, so once I took the time to line this up, which is the left side, and the bottom, I wasn't off here anymore because I got it. I had the underneath block was crooked. So once I lined up this left side and the bottom, then it's okay. So I have nothing to show you then. Well, Christine, you're almost done? I'm almost done too. And again, I'm going to sew because I got my pin a little ways past my seam. I want to get up as close to that seam stitching so that if I move my fabric around or anything, I don't knock my seam out of the line. I'm also holding it here while I pull that pin out. And I'm just going to take my time. Got a lot of pins over there now. Let's see how we're looking. So see this guy, it's awful bunchy back there. So I'm gonna see. You remember how we take so here's our line of stitching going across. I'm going to take out the stitches that are going vertical above that line and see if I can flatten that little area out. Do any of you have a little? That's the only bunchy section I got. So let's see if I can make it a little flatter. And remember, you got to take the stitches out on both sides. Oh yeah, because I have 2 seams on the back and 1 seam on the front. So that's 3 seams hanging over one another. So let's see what we can see if there's anything we can do with that little knot of happiness. If I can keep my seam ripper together. And I'm gonna open that seam. So open just means 1/2 of the seam allowance is on the right, 1/2 of the seam allowance is on the left. And I'm gonna see if that helps that little spot. So I'm just kind of reaching in, and I just gotta make sure that I don't undo my seam. And then I'm just kind of giving it a little squish. And that helped a little bit. And if you go, when you iron, that'll help it too. So that big lump isn't there. It's a little bumpy, but not like it was. And you can always fix that after you're all done. So now we just got to put the 2 pieces together. So the first thing I'm going to do again is get those seams nestled together. It's a little harder to pin when you pin it into seam allowances. Oh, no, I'm looking to do the 2 seams together, and there isn't one. See, that was handy. But I'm going to get to this end. I'm going to make sure it's lined up this way and this way. And I'm going to put the pin about 1/4 inch from the edge. So if you want to put a pin in this long stretch, you can do that. But sometimes remember, too many pins is, too many pins. And I'm going to come back to this end. So this is my left side. And I want to make sure that I've lined up this way, and this way. We don't want to forget about that. And remember, I'm going to pin on the left side. And they aren't always going to be perfectly lined up because we don't sew perfect. And this isn't your prom dress, so it's okay. So what in essence should happen is I've got 2 rows here and 2 rows here. This should line up on all 4 sides. I did say should. But if you take the time to do that, you will be happier. And we all want to be happier. Now so see if you can see. So I need this seam to go left, but down here I sewed it right. So I'm going to sew it left, and remember how I showed you how to clip in the middle? So we'll do that after this is done. After we get it stitched. Remember, if you don't have pivot, lift that foot up. Press a foot up every now and again. And see how my left hand, I'm holding on right to the bitter end. Okay, let's see what we've got. Everybody done their block now? I loaded up on pins the other day. Remember, I was down to about 3. So let's see that. Let me see. That seam wants to go up. At least mine wants to go up. Well, that's looking pretty good. But boy, it sure is green. Even though these two are red, they all have red in them except this one. It doesn't look very red. But you see now how everybody's all lined up and happy. And don't forget, this is going to stay like this because that's a 1/4 inch seam when you put this block either to another block or to sashing. So, and people want to know what on point means. So this would be, oops, sorry. This would be on point, which means, so here's normal on point. So the point of the square is going up and down. But we're not going to sew on point. So let me go back and find that seam that's going 2 different ways. Oh, so here it is, right here. So up here, it's going left. Down here, it's going right. So I'm going to clip right in the middle. Clip. Preferably you have some smaller scissors. So that now, see how this half of the seam is going that way, and then this half is going, or will be going. Yeah, wait a minute. I can't hold it up and do that at the same time. So now I'm pushing it back. I'm looking opposite of the screen. Okay, so this part is going to the right. That part's going to the left. Can you see that? So when I press this, I want to look at the back first. And I can see now that all my seams across want to come down or towards the basket. So I would just lightly press this, then I would turn it over because you want to make sure that you don't have any creases. And boy, it really feels bumpy right now, but if you give it some steam, it'll be good. So there we are. We did that pretty good. Look at that. 8:13. And it was a slow start. So does anybody have any questions? So I'll wait a couple minutes. Our last block is this one. And it is on page 11 in the book, I believe. So our last one is this one. Then we're going to be working on our sashing. And we'll talk about that and do a little bit of that next week. Because your sashing pieces are going to be the same size as your block. So the sashing is the part that's between the blocks. Okay, so because we have this little, what we call a cornerstone in a different color, then this piece of sashing and this piece of sashing is the exact same size as your block. So you only start having big pieces when you start going around the outside. And if you have I had mine out today. If you have the Crafter's Companion, what are they calling it? Fabric strip dies, we'll be using those. So I know they look short, but it's all about folding the fabric. So this is what we'll work on, not next week, but the week after. But we'll talk about it next week so you can think about your fabrics and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Lynn, your block is done. Good for you. Christine, yours is done. Good for you. Good for you guys. So let me know if you have this. If you don't, I'll give you the dimensions of what it's going to be. Well, I'll give you how to figure out your dimensions, because I think Lynn and Gloria were doing, I want to say 8-inch blocks. Lynn might be doing 12. I can't remember. So, but I'll show you how to calculate next week for cutting out for your sashing. Doesn't matter what block size you're doing. Okay? Let me stick that back up there. Let me put this back out of the way again. And let me just pause for a minute and see if there's any questions. So next week is our last block. If you're doing the table runner. Now, if you're doing the table runner and you want it longer, just repeat the blocks. So this is 23, including all the borders, it's 23 by 37. But that includes the borders. So if you want it longer, I don't have a long table, so if you want it longer, just make more blocks. You can make it whatever size you want. Oh, Lynn, you did 8-inch. Okay, I thought you did. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining in. Sorry about that little couple of hiccups there. I'm not sure what that was. Some things I have no control over. Some things. Wish I did. I know I pay for the highest speed internet there is. I'm not sure I'm getting it, but maybe I'll have to complain again. And I don't know. I never know if it's on my end, the other end, no end. So I apologize for those little hiccups there. Maybe gave you a chance to catch up on your sewing while you were waiting for me. Okay, so thanks again, everyone. Don't forget, Saturday, 1 p.m. is the sew-along, and we're working on the same, excuse me, let me get a drink. The same size zipper bag. This time we're going to be putting tabs on so that the zipper isn't in the seam. And I'll post something tomorrow after I get done my class probably. So tomorrow night, just reminding everyone of the size of the bag, fabric, and so forth. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great night. And maybe I'll see you on Saturday. If not, next Thursday at 7. Thanks again.